Yo, what's going on, everybody? Appreciate all of you guys for tuning in to Vikings Now by Chat Sports. As always, I'm your host, Patrick Siepman. And coming up on today's show, I want to give you guys my thoughts on the Thanksgiving games yesterday and why it directly impacts some of the major problems with the Minnesota Vikings. We'll be talking about just concepts with Kevin O'Connell's offense, talking about the quarterback play, which I thought yesterday, in all three of the games, I thought the quarterback play, maybe besides Lamar Jackson, like all six of those quarterbacks had great games yesterday. So we'll talk about how that impacts the Minnesota Vikings, and then also just appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Happy Black Friday to all of you guys. Hopefully all of you guys had a great Thanksgiving with your families. It was a ton of fun watching football yesterday. Now, I will say one little random take here. We were about 5 minutes into the Packers-Lions game, and I'm watching those two teams play, and obviously they're in the same division as the Vikings. I'm just looking at these games, and I'm just like, what the hell happened? Like, how are the Vikings this bad? We swept Green Bay last year. We went toe-to-toe with Detroit, 14-2 versus 14-2, and now these teams, like the Vikings aren't even on the same stratosphere as either of these teams, and now we're at the bottom of the barrel of the NFC North. So I was just kind of getting myself pissed off throughout the, pretty much entire day yesterday watching football because I'm like, man, the Vikings, we used to be like that last year, and then, it's just crazy how quickly things can change here in the NFL. But I'll talk about all what I want to get to on today's show. But if you guys could, hit that subscribe button today. I'm trying to hit our next milestone. And plus, if you guys want daily Vikings videos, I got you guys hooked up for the rest of the season. Should be a hectic offseason. We obviously get Max Brosmer this Sunday, so I think that will be very entertaining. A lot to take away from that game. So make sure you guys tune in. Hit that subscribe button. We'll also be going live for the game. So, hit that subscribe button and tune in then. So one of the biggest takeaways I had, and this was coming in from the Cowboys and Chiefs game and how it directly impacts the Minnesota Vikings, was the Vikings just don't run slants. This is a slant route. And I was watching George Pickens yesterday, where George Pickens, he ran 4 slants in the entire game. They went for 72 yards. Now, normally a slant route, it's going to go for 7-8 yards, but Pickens, with his great yards after catch ability, he would take a slant, turn it upfield, get about 20-25 yards there, and just generate explosive play after explosive play. And even CeeDee Lamb was doing it. We saw Rashee Rice cook up on a couple of slant routes. I'm just watching this game, and even back in like the Lions game, like Jameson Williams run a slant route. Like all these teams, like they have these short, quick passing concepts, and the slant route is about as vanilla as it gets. And I start thinking about the Minnesota Vikings, and I'm like, when was the last time I saw Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison run a slant? Legitimately. So I tried to think about it, and I think the last slant route that Justin Jefferson caught was week 4 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it was early on in the game. It was Carson Wentz throwing the football. And maybe you guys try to help me out here. Like, legitimately, think about the last time you saw Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison run a slant route. That is about as basic football as it gets. That is, you are drawing it up in your turkey bowl yesterday. I'm sure a lot of you guys were throwing slant routes, where you just get it on your hand, bop, bop, run that route. The Vikings never do it. And that goes back to, again, the KOC philosophy, where it's like, he refuses to add these, short, quick passing game concepts, and it can be so frustrating because you're watching these other teams just like, hey, let's get the ball to George Pickens real quickly. Like, I'm watching the Cowboys, and I'm like, yeah, George Pickens is probably one of the best wide receiver 2s in NFL history. Like, this dude looks like a top 10 wide receiver in the league right now. Plus, pair him up with CeeDee Lamb. Like, that combination is special. But it's not like Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson are so far off that. And I'm just looking at Schottenheimer getting their playmakers the ball so easily. And then I understand the quarterback play. I understand JJ's been awful this year. Even Carson Wentz was bad. But you can't generate easy looks like that. JJ's been throwing slant routes since high school. You can't give him a couple easy ones and just say, hey, Jefferson, Addison, we're running double slants. Let's just get you guys the football, get you guys more involved. Let's run some quick outs. Or like even Jordan Love yesterday and early on in that Packers game, he's just throwing these beautiful out routes. And it's just like, those are simple concepts. But when we watch Kevin O'Connell this year, and what has been so frustrating where, and KOC said this, is like organizations fail quarterbacks just as much as quarterback fails organizations. Now, obviously, I think JJ has not been helping Kevin O'Connell out by any means, but KOC hasn't been helping him out at all. And just watching the Cowboys game yesterday, watching those two, just Pickens and CeeDee, just cook these guys off the line, making big-time catches and just getting, their play callers, getting them in advantageous spots to get a lot of yak. Like, the Vikings aren't really a good yak team, which is so confusing. Like, I think TJ Hawkinson also, there are 30 tight ends in the league. that are better than TJ Hawkinson. He is absolutely terrible. He should not be on an NFL team. Or be on an NFL team. He should not be on the Vikings next year. He's making way too much money. But just watching George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb cook up yesterday, I'm like, why can't we do that? Why can't we have that? I understand they got Dak Prescott throwing him the football, but man, George Pickens yesterday, 4 slants for 70-plus yards just off slants. Like, and then you add in the other stuff, and we just have yet to see KOC adjust. Now, I do have a weird feeling that with Max Brosmer, quick game quarterback, that's his archetype. That's really the only way he's going to be successful. I would assume Kevin O'Connell would implement some of this, but also, like, that's just his scheme. Like, it's all long routes down the field, making the quarterback make big-time reads. Like, you demand high-end quarterback play out of this offense. I'm not even necessarily saying that's a bad thing, but sometimes, man, you got to make your QB's life easier. Get him a run game. Have him throw some quick slants. And again, that would be today's poll question. When is the last time you guys saw Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison run a slant route? The most basic route in all of football. When was the last time? They just don't do it. They refuse to. It is a Kevin O'Connell problem. It's an offensive scheme problem, and I still love KOC. I still think he's a very good head coach. But, man, I bet you if you ask somebody, who would you rather have, the Schottenheimer offense or the Kevin O'Connell offense? It's up for debate. Like, it is. Listen, the NFL is a what have you done for me lately league, and Kevin O'Connell hasn't done shit this year. He has had a bad year. I understand the quarterback play's been awful, but that's on the head coach too. Like, KOC doesn't go without blame. Like, that's why I get so frustrated, especially with other people that cover the Vikings. Is like, because I consume Vikings content too, and I hear other people talk about this team, and it's just like, oh, chalk it all up to J.J. McCarthy. Chalk it all up to Carson Wentz and the quarterback play. Well, how about this? Twofolds. Who decided to get the quarterback this year? It was Kevin O'Connell. Who also is responsible for the quarterback not playing well is Kevin O'Connell. Just watching yesterday's offenses cook, especially in that Chiefs and Cowboys game, I was just furious. But I also do want to talk about just watching the games yesterday, and this is where I'll tie this back into J.J. McCarthy and why I think the Vikings are in a rough spot. You need a quarterback in the NFL, just flat out. And we've always known this. Like, it is a head coach quarterback league, and the Vikings, they have the worst quarterback room in the NFL right now. Like, even the team like the New Orleans Saints, where they got Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler. I mean, the Vikings are on that level. And it's sad to where we were last year, where it's like you looked at their quarterback room. I remember showing a graphic, and I'm just like, oh, that's Sam Darnold, that's Daniel Jones, that's J.J. McCarthy. And what I was so frustrated watching yesterday's game, and is specifically watching Jordan Love, was Jordan Love's had an up-and-down career. He's had some great moments. He's had some bad moments, but they have stuck with him. And I'm thinking about Sam Darnold, and I'm like, the guy was 28 years old. I understand he spent the 10th overall pick on McCarthy, but why didn't you just let Darnold and KOC run this out for a couple years? Because I'll tell you what, I don't think we would be 9-2 or whatever with Darnold this year, but we sure as shit would not be 4-7. We'd probably be 7-4. And it's just so frustrating watching this high-end quarterback play. And it's like, man, we had that last year. And that's like the toughest thing to get in the NFL, and they just let it walk out the door. And, no, listen, I would not be as upset about this if, what you say, all the money we spend in free agency, like the Hargraves, the Allen, the Will Fries, the Ryan Kellys, if they were all balling out, and I saw the vision where I'm like, all right, God, our roster is stacked. It's just our quarterback play stinks. But it's like, the roster's really not that good. And now you get bad quarterback play, and now this is the result we're getting, where we're getting blasted in some of these games. So it's just very frustrating, because you're watching yesterday, and it's like Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. How are we supposed to compete? You can't. You can't compete. And that's where the Vikings. Also, I will say this. For everybody who wants Mac Jones, I could not disagree more with that. I think the Vikings had made such a bad move with taking a risk on McCarthy. There are two options here. You ride this motherfucker out with McCarthy, or you get ultra aggressive and you go try to draft another quarterback, or you go get a guy like Trevor Lawrence or Anthony Richardson, a guy with crazy high potential. Because what is Mac Jones going to do? We'll be 9-8. That's what we'll have. We'll be back in purgatory, which is fine. I mean, if that's what you want, that's fine. Clearly, this Vikings organization loves that spot, but I would rather have them swing big, either you ride out with McCarthy and you go win 4 games again next season, which, again, then that flirts that battle where it's like, all right, well, if you win 4 games, a guy like Jefferson could want out. Then it just turmoil starts to happen in the organization. But I don't know. Watching the games yesterday, it was a lot of fun, but I was just getting pissed off because I'm like, God damn, like the Vikings were such a good team last year. We were a serious franchise, and now we're at where we are. But hope you guys appreciate the little video. Put a hoodie up. I don't know why. I just realized that as we're closing this one out. But hey, I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving weekend. I'll be back in the studio on Sunday for the game against the Seahawks an hour before kickoff. So tune in then, and we'll get on out of here. As always, let's go Vikes.